Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Retro Recall. I hope you're doing awesome. Today, we're going to do something a little different than what we've been doing on the channel and introducing what I would like to share with everybody in terms of my thrift finds. I go thrifting quite a bit through the weekends and online or in stores and things like that, and sometimes in different cities depending on if I'm traveling. And I would just like to share some of those finds with everybody here. So let's get right to it. And first on our bench is 3 tape cassettes that, good old tapes. And I've been seeing these come back recently with actual recorded artists on these, depending on we have a couple of record stores here locally, and I've seen a couple of these, and I actually said to the clerk, I said, are these made up? Are these fake? And she said, no, they're some of them are coming back out with some of the recordings on cassette tape. And to see these sealed, I just had to have them. And I do have, even today, I have a couple of cassette decks that I do randomly listen to cassettes on. Yes, I do realize that, you get, what's the point? You have, your phone, or you have streaming services and things like that. But just like listening to a record player or, other media like that, sometimes it's just really neat to do that. But 3 sealed TDK D90 cassette tapes. So again, they came in different formats, different lengths, different recording types, whether depending on the player and what have you. But yeah, just really cool to see these in the wild. So let's move on to our next item. And it seems that we'll carry on with the same. The same kind of theme, and we have VHS cassette tapes, video cassette recorder VCR tapes. These are the T120 by BASF 6-hour runtime, extra quality in the VHS format. And I mean, having them sealed like that, no guarantee. Ideally, they'd be in good condition and working just fine. But, again, I have some VCRs still, video cassette recorders still active today. And I actually picked up a couple of older VCRs, probably from the 70s and 80s, actually more so the 80s, sorry, that from Zenith. And I'm really, interested in showing that on this channel. So having a couple of these cassette tapes available to me to be able to do that would be really, really awesome. Again, at the thrift store, for $1 each, I think it was, or $1 for the 3-pack. I can't remember anymore. But having those together, I think that's pretty darn neat. And here we are on the bench, the Super Disc Drive by Imation. These are the LS120 discs. This is an external drive, which I have yet to test, to be quite honest with you. This was the alternative to another format in the format war, to the 3.5-inch floppy disks. And, seeing one like this in this condition, I mean, physically it seems just fine. And it did come with the device cable, the USB device cable for the external connectivity. And of course, it has the connectivity right here, but we also have a Kensington lock port here to be able to connect to. And we also have the 5-volt power adapter for external, which I do not have. I'm sure Universal would accommodate that based on the power requirements. But yeah, the Super Disc 120 megabyte USB for PC or Mac, which was really neat that it has that ability to be cross-platform. CDs became the norm after all the bigger floppy drives and zip drives and certain tape media and things like that. And then fast forwarding to optical media really took on. And then ultimately greater means of storage. But I mean, we're not here to talk about all the storage wars, but it was definitely neat to see. But yeah, out in the wild, and I really hope that we get that working. Next, we have something pretty cool that I found that I thought was definitely had to have. As you know, I have quite a bit of ThinkPads, and this was just something that, you know, when I saw IBM branded, it was really on a shelf, just kind of shoved in the corner. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, what is that? And then I pulled it out, and of course, you know, saw the IBM logo on that. So I said, okay, what's inside? And I mean, just look at it. It's an external floppy drive. IBM branded, and you know, it's what looks to be sealed, or it was well used and put away very well. So, but I'm just going to open it up to show everybody. There we are. We have that undone, and we'll open it up. And there we are. We have the old IBM logo on there to boot, which is just absolutely nice. I mean, anything IBM branded, I just love to see. And the fact that, I mean, I don't even see fingerprints on this thing. I don't think this was used, to be honest with you. I think it was purchased probably with one of the notebook PCs that it would have gone with, you know, with at the time when they started phasing out floppy media drives inside laptops. And it was probably included, and then they just kind of kept it in the case and never ever utilized it. But again, really neat to see. Let's move on to the next item. And our next item is some floppy disks. Now, a couple of things about floppy disks. Whenever I see floppy disks, I buy them. I don't care if I see them on the shelves, even used floppy disks, depending on the condition of them, I take a chance, or brand new ones. I find them, I get them, and I use them for different applications, specifically the older retro computers and things like that. But, you know, I have tons and tons and tons and tons of floppy disks. However, this is something that I don't have a lot of. This is the 720K formatted floppy disks. And you may have seen I used one of these disks. That's why it's open. So this was sealed, but I wanted to show it as part of the thrift finds because it was found in a thrift store in a bag of goodies that in my Zenith Minisport ZL2 video that if you haven't seen that, please go take a look. It's a really cool machine. The fact that it has 720K disk drive, these are formatted perfectly for that. And so I was able to test these disks on that video. So really cool to have. Don't have a lot of these. This is probably my only pack of these. So definitely keep my eye open for these in the future. So let's see what's next. And here we are, a smartphone when we didn't know what the heck we were doing. The Trio 650 smartphone. Now, why would I pick up something like this? Well, to be honest with you, the connectivity for it to get online today, in terms of, you know, the cellular network, probably won't even support this anymore. It's not about that for me. For that is the interface. Seeing the, you know, this was coming out in the days of Palm. Palm was very popular, and you know, having the foundation for creating the smartphones that we have today. And, you know, when I looked at this, I went, you know, what is inside this box? You know, what do we have inside here? And I mean, the original battery is still here, removed from the unit, and, you know, not in the unit where it can go really bad or what have you. But then to look at this, you know, it's just in really, really, really good condition. So I never owned one of these. I mean, this is based on the Palm, you know, the Palm interface, the Palm OS. And so I just saw the condition of it, and I thought it'd be really cool to do a video on Palm pilots in general. And I have a few Palm pilots. I have some sealed. I have some older ones. I have an original one back from when I was a kid. And, you know, this would have been a dream to have, you know, when you're, you know, that era. I'm going, okay, you know, it'd be awesome to have the Palm and all that stuff. But I mean, again, I didn't have one. But when I saw this, I just thought it was really cool. And the fact that, you know, it comes with all the original software and all the original discs and, you know, information on the phone itself. And heck, remember those days we had the old car chargers in the car, plug into the cigarette lighter? And then there we go. You just charge it that way. And plus it comes with sync cables and earphones. And, you know, this was the, you know, the media powerhouse. If you had one of these, you were pretty darn cool. So I figured I would pick one up, you know, pick it up when I saw it. I mean, the price was right for a couple bucks, and yeah, definitely interested in seeing this get going. So, you know, what else do we have to go through today? Let's go find out. Well, we couldn't have any thrifting without some software. Here we have Triple Play 98, our Electronic Arts CD-ROM classics from EA Sports. Now, again, I wasn't heavy into any sort of sports games, to be honest with you, growing up. And, but when I saw this sealed and any sort of big box software, I try to collect. I have several titles, and I mean, I don't have a huge collection by any means, but definitely when I see, items like this that I can collect, I definitely grab them if I can. And, this is Windows 95 computers, which it was aimed for. Just really cool to, go down memory lane. Now, what I mean by that is specifically looking at the graphics of the time. When I see these sort of games, but again, this is aimed at 98. However, it came out in 97 according to what this is, and Windows 98 was not out just yet, and then hence why it says Windows 95 computers. But I mean, this would have been I think because it says CD-ROM Classics, it would have been a re-release of what this was originally. Keep me honest in the comments, but. The fact that it was sealed in a big box, I said, yeah, absolutely going to add that to the collection. On that same note, speaking of software, we'll keep going, is this gem. I don't know if anyone has played XCOM or, the series, but this, I believe, is the great-great-great-grandfather of what we have today in terms of any XCOM series games, UFO Defense. I believe this is on floppy disk. Yeah, IBM 3.5-inch floppy. And it, I just remember playing this. My brother had this on his computer. And I believe it was a 386 he had or a 486. But it says here, IBM PC and most compatible. So required is a 386 or 486 with 4 megabytes of RAM, VGA graphics, mouse, and MS-DOS 5 or higher. Command Earth's forces against the alien terror. I just love seeing this old software. And again, big box, old software, put it in my cart right away. I will definitely collect it. And this was such a cool game. And I remember it giving me the heebie-jeebies, I'll be honest with you, playing this when I was younger and sneaking in and using my brother's computer to play it. But I mean, I remember this scene specifically, the spaceship scene where you're calling in. And it's one of those games that, it's all black shadows until you approach the scene. And you have to kind of anticipate what might be there at the time. So just a really awesome classic. And another find out in the wild in terms of software is the Diablo Battle Chest. I was a huge fan of Diablo 2, so, to have Diablo 2 here, and then the expansion set and the strategy guide, which is inside here, I think it was just awesome to see this in the thrift store. And, if you're getting these for, $5-6, depending on what it is, I think it's pretty awesome to add to the collection. Now, obviously, I would love to have everything new and sealed. We just don't work in that world unless you plan on spending oodles and oodles of money, for sure. But I mean, having all the software here in such great condition, heck, we even have the guest passes for World of Warcraft, which I won't even get started on that just yet because that got me hooked forever. But, having this all together, I think that's just pretty awesome. And Diablo 2 itself was a pretty awesome game. So that's it for software for this very moment. So let's keep on moving on to the next item. And here we are, and believe it or not, I know we went over the LS120 drive there earlier, but these did not come from that same drive. I mean, when I was at the thrift store, these were not part of that thrifting experience. I was able to locate these at another time in a bag. It was literally just a bag hanging on the wall. I think it was a couple bucks, and, hey, sign me up. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3 sealed ones that we have. And then, of course, we have a couple of them that are open. And, just looking at them and, they're a much heftier floppy disk, I guess I will say. By any means, they're not a floppy disk, obviously, because of the format. But just really cool to see what these were like in person and being able to find the media for that drive that we showed earlier. I think it's just really neat to have. So I'm going to be utilizing these to do some testing with that drive and to see if we can use them on maybe some of the older PCs we have, maybe do some testing with a video or what have you. But again, just another awesome find for the channel. Next, we have pretty standard stuff, is just a 52-speed CD-ROM drive by LG. I mean, nothing fancy. You've seen quite a bit of these drives on the channel already. I think the attraction for me is the fact that it's a beige drive. And, you know, we've been showing a lot of beige drives on the channel, specifically going over all the different builds and all those good things. But I've been finding some of the drives we've been testing just aren't working or reading disks correctly or are reliable. So by getting these disks, I mean, even for, I think I paid half that, to be honest with you. It might have been $2 just because of coupons and stuff like that you get depending on the stores and the promotions. I grabbed them because, you know, you never know, you know, when, you know, you pop this in, if it's going to work or not. And then, you know, you take a risk, but also this could be working just fine and it replaces one of the drives that are not functioning. So so whenever I see one of these around, I definitely grab one. And I'm going to put on the bench some guilty items here. I'll say whenever I see a beige mouse, I grab it. I don't care the condition of it in terms of the, you know, if they're dirty or yellowed, because I can get them, you know, whether it's retrobrighting them or, you know, or cleaning them up and, you know, using the magic eraser, things like that really make a difference. And, you know, when I see ball mice and things like that, I just grab them just to be able to connect to some of my older retro PCs. Now, the thing that attracted me to these guys, outside of just being the beige, is, I mean, this is a fairly, I believe this is a Mitsumi, yeah, Mitsumi, just very standard mouse at the time of the 90s. And it's a serial mouse. So, I mean, some of the older PCs don't have the PS2 interface like this one is. And, you know, being able to have that. Now I think I have this exact mouse already, but when I found this, I was like playing with the buttons, just really crisp. There's absolutely very little wear on this mouse. So definitely awesome because the other one I have is very worn on the left click. And then, so on top of that, we have the Microsoft mouse. Again, love the Microsoft mouse. I actually have one of these brand new in box that I got at a thrift store. You can see that in another thrift episode. But in terms of this, I mean, this is a PS2 mouse. Again, you know, USB black mice is all we have today, or wireless mice and things like that. And I realize that's technology. So by seeing these and being able to utilize these in some of my old setups is really, really neat. Now, in that same kind of category that I had found that same time was this mouse, the Sun Microsystems mouse. And this one is USB, but what had caught my eye was more of the gray at first. And when I saw this, it was kind of like in a bag hanging on the wall. And I saw this and I went, oh, it's a Sony mouse, right? This purplish color is really, you know, the Sony Bios at the time were definitely that color and the grays. And then I flipped it around and went, holy goodness, I'm grabbing that. The Sun Microsystems. Now, I never got into the Sun Microsystem operating systems or those type of systems growing up. However, I was exposed to them. My brothers worked in environments where they existed, but it would be really cool to get my hands on, you know, a tower or some sort of system from Sun and really explore it on this channel. I think it would be really, really awesome. But I wanted to show that separately just because, like I said, whenever I see mice that are beige or a unique one like this, that kind of looks like a Sony mouse and it's a ball mouse, even though it's USB, I think that's really neat to see. Now, with all the media you have, you can't go without storage. You know, I do have 5.25-inch discs that I have that are, you know, available to me, and I don't have a lot of holders, to be honest with you. And I just saw this and I said, you know what, for what it is, again, I think I don't even remember paying that. I think it was 50 cents or something. And, you know, having that is pretty cool because I have boxes of the floppy disks that I don't have any sort of storage for. And when I see this, I just go, you know what, it'd be cool to have. So I'm going to put that aside and we'll move on to the next item. Sim City 2000. I mean, seeing this classic in a thrift store, you grab it. And you know the story I've already talked about, which is, hey, big box software. This was not sealed. This was in, I opened it up, of course, to make sure it was in there. And I mean, the disc is in great condition. I think it's missing some things compared to what would normally have been in here. But again, just, I mean, yeah, it says right here, you know, it says SimCity, Urban Renewal Kit, disaster scenarios, all those good things. An inclusive interview with the right SimCity designer, 2000 designer. But I mean, this came out, what are the system requirements for this? It is IBM DOS 100% compatible, 486 or above, MS-DOS 5. So yeah, I mean, it comes for Windows 95 and MS-DOS computers. So the compatibility was definitely there for the different systems. Now, I never played SimCity 2000 all that much, to be quite honest with you. I had friends who had it, definitely built these huge cities. And what was really neat about it, because I played the original SimCity quite a bit, what was really neat about it is just the under-terrain systems you had to build, where you just kind of automatically did that in like the SNES version of this or the original SimCity. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool to find out in the wild. Now, this next one, I have no idea. I have never played this, but again, I'm a sucker for big box software. If I see it, I'm definitely going to grab it. And just to see, I mean, it's $42.99 from Electronics Boutique Canada. So EB Games, Electronics Boutique, and then I think later became GameStop. But when I saw this in the box art and I looked at it and I went, you know, this reminds me a lot of like the Caesar series, or you know, different games like that. And when I see this, I just thought, you know what, that'd be really cool to try out sometime on the channel. Your rule will span generations. So Pharaoh, you know, it definitely looks to be the most impressive historical sim ever. I mean, obviously I have to pick it up when I see something like that. But yeah, I mean, it'd be really cool to see what the graphics are like using this. And in terms of, it says Windows 95, 98 on the side. I'm just going to see what their system requirements are. So 95, 98 CD-ROM, Pentium 133 with 32 megabytes of RAM, a 4 times CD-ROM drive. You know, you're getting up there in speed. 360 megabytes of hard disk space. Oh my goodness, my 120 megabyte hard drive is not going to work. 100 megabytes of free space on Windows drive, so it needs additional space. 1 meg video card capable of 640 by 480 with 16-bit color, and supports Windows-compatible sound cards. And then it shows the preferred of Pentium 200, 64 megs of RAM, 600 megabytes of drive space, and a 2 meg SVGA card. So definitely interested to see this this software in action. But again, big box software, send it my way. Let's get a webcam. We have a sealed Microsoft LifeCam VX3000. Net meeting, anyone? MSN Messenger, Windows Live Messenger compatible. You know, being able to, I mean, heck, this family looks amazingly happy over chatting with their friends and family over the good old webcam that attaches onto the top of your monitor. And, you know, when I saw this, I just got a laugh when I saw it. And I thought, you know, hey, gotta have it, gotta test it out one of these days, is to see the quality of the video. Heck, you know, I might go on camera on that on that video. But yeah, just, I mean, you know, it has the Windows Live call button. So it would have been, you know, because made from Microsoft, they would have taken that into consideration for the operating system, and Windows Live Messenger, any sort of different applications where, you know, you press the button up top, it would have automatically loaded the software. Superior video quality, crystal clear audio, built-in microphone. I mean, none of these microphones that stand on your desk anymore. You have it built into the webcam. And now, all jokes aside, this is what built what we have today. You know, it's on our smartphones, it's in our laptop screens, all those good things. I mean, just think of the technology, where it came from to where it is today. And yeah, I just think it's absolutely cool to see this. And I do remember using this with friends, of course, and talking to my family across the world. Just really, really neat to see. Now, this particular model, I believe, came out in, it says 2006 Microsoft Corporation. So requires a Pentium 2 550 or a Pentium 4 1.4 gigahertz recommended. But I mean, it's quite a range there actually between a Pentium 2 and a Pentium 4. So I guess obviously, you know, the more processing power you have and the more resources, the better the image of the quality. It's pretty cool. we should definitely try that out in a future video. More big box software. I mean, I could put all the software together, but hey, this is fun randomly peppering it in to see what we have. So WW2 Fighters, classic CD-ROM game. I mean, it's obviously a flight sim of some sort. Jane's Combat Simulations. I haven't heard of that brand specifically, but I do have a couple from that series. So system requirements, Windows 95, 98, a Pentium 200 with 200 megs of hard drive space and 32 megabytes of RAM, and a 3D graphics accelerator required. No friendly skies. Well, that's awfully welcoming. Fly 7 famous fighters of World War II. Unprecedented graphic detail. I mean, of the time, I would say maybe. Hours of fun, easy to learn, and relive history. That's what we like. We want to relive history and understand and educate ourselves. So again, just really cool to see that all together. And, you know, all the stuff in here. What's in here? It looks like, yeah, it looks like a book of some sort. Someone would have printed off with all the different, would have been scanned by the looks of things. Yeah, okay. Just tells you all about the different, how to use the software and control and everything like that. So I think that's pretty neat. Let's move on. And you can't have mice without a keyboard. Now, this is not by any means a fancy keyboard. Keytronic did make some really nice keyboards. I have a couple that are actually brand new, were new old stock, and, you know, have a solid steel bottom on it running the DIN 5 connection. And, you know, when I saw this, I saw the name Keytronic, and I went, you know what? Cool. You know, I remember these eventually coming down in price so much, you know, selling at, you know, Walmart and Zellers up in Canada here, and, you know, Kmart and, you know, other places like that. But, you know, having this, you know, it doesn't feel terrible to type on. It's more of a soft touch keyboard, not very clicky, definitely, you know, more membraney for sure. But it would be a really cool project to take this all apart and restore it and retrobrite it and bring it back into service. But, you know, having it be a PS2 keyboard as well was definitely an attraction for me, just because, you know, having DIN 5 and the PS2 formats, especially with the older systems that I have, is really nice to have a variety of keyboards to choose from. You know, what's funny is, let's move on to the next item, and then I think we're on an auction here. So here we have auction number. No, I'm kidding. So we have an old. I just saw this and I just had to have it. I don't know why. I just have a thing for old clock radios, and, you know, I'm not an old clock radio collector by any means. But when I saw this, I said, you know what? Let's just try it out, see if it works. And I am one of those few people that still have an active phone line in the house. And I'm actually able to, you know, utilize this. And I did. I picked it up and called the house, and it worked just fine. And, you know, it's just really cool to see the old style, you know, buttons and all that stuff. And being a clock radio, it'd be a cool little thing for the desk, you know, just kind of a retro item. Now, you know, everyone would have had, not everyone, but, you know, a lot of people would have had, you know, this clock radio versions and, you know, having all this, but having speakerphone, the radio ability to play on this. And of course, you know, it stops, rings, answer your phone by General Electric. So I also have another GE kind of just clock radio that my brother graciously gave me. I'm using that term loosely. I'm pretty confident that I borrowed it on him. But yeah, when I saw this, I just thought, you know what, that's just really, really cool to have here as part of the channel. So it'd be really cool to, do a video on this just to see and try it out. And like I said, I have a real phone line, so you can see the quality of it and all those good things. And actually, I have a whole bunch of different type of old radios. So who knows? We might do a video on that in the future. We have a Linksys One Speed Rangemark Speedmark 1X. It's a PCM CIA wireless card for a notebook computer. I mean, obviously this would have been a wireless card for a notebook that did not have a wireless one adapter built in. Now, I did notice after the fact that it is it's written French all over the box, and there's absolutely no English at all on the box. And, you know, I read through it all, and, you know, other than knowing what the symbols are and all that stuff, but interesting that I found that, and sealed. And I imagine it has English software with it and it worked just fine. with one of the PCs. But you know, having this wireless G card is really good for the older laptops that I have, so we can get it on the network. So next, speaking of that, we have a goodie bag that courtesy of Aaron. Aaron, if you're watching this, thank you so much. He was able to pick this up for me, and see, I already have people supporting my bad habits, which is fantastic. So yeah, let's just open it up, because I have not opened this up just yet, but it looks like a pile of PCM CIA cards, which would have been just for different compatible. And one of the challenges with these cards is they don't come generally with the dongles. And when I saw this bag, I saw a bag of wires too. So I took the chance and said, yeah, go ahead. So we have the Zercom credit card Ethernet modem. So 33.6. When I see Ethernet plus modem, I imagine, like I said, this would have, yeah, so this has two dongles on the side that would connect. Now this one here is 10100 EtherJet is what they call it. Interesting to have jet on the end. That's something that usually Hewlett-Packard had. But this one does come with the dongle that's attached and has the Ethernet connector on the bottom here on the dongle. Now we really need to get this going for sure. I mean, anything IBM branded, of course, I love, and I do have some IBM systems that don't have Ethernet, specifically on some of my older systems. So having this capability adds expansion to it, which is just really, really nice. And of course, we have two Zercom credit card Ethernet modems. There we are. And what's this one? We have another Zercom as well. And this looks like just a direct one. Yeah. So this is really neat to have. This is a real port Ethernet 10100. What's really neat about this is, you know, it's built right into it. So you don't have to worry about any dongles. And quite frankly, I love them. And, you know, we definitely needed another one of these guys, but we have a credit card Ethernet 10100 upgradable. So, I mean, what does that mean? Is it flashware or flash capable or through software? It'd be interesting to see if that works. And we got one of these guys, another Zercom this time, and it's another real port Ethernet 10100 card. And we have a Netgear 80211B wireless card, 16-bit PCM CIA model MA401. So just a little wireless card and with a link light that you would connect to, just transforms your wireless or your laptop into a wireless laptop, and shows your link, and you know the B is the authentication or the standard. Our final one here is a Waveland Gold Turbo, 11 megabits per second. So again, another wireless card, and by Lucent Technologies. And you know, it's a shame we don't have the wireless. It looks like something would plug in there just to give it more range. And then of course, it's nice that we have this actually, because we have the IBM, another IBM Ethernet port that would go in there. And then we also have one of the Zercoms. Well, actually, we don't have. Oh, wait a minute. We have the Zercom credit card here. And let's see if that would fit. And it does. So yeah, we would end up using it for that. So this is the 10100 card, and then it's upgradable, remember? All right. So we had a whole bag full of PCM CIA cards, which we definitely enjoy seeing. So let's see what else we have. Can't have any thrifting without Star Trek. Love Star Trek, Star Trek. Okay. So I saw this and I said, yep, put this in my cart, not only because it's just software and because it's a big box, but it's Star Trek. So 3 for 3, had to have it. Star Trek meets StarCraft by PC Gamer. The review, not the series. But yeah, when I see this, I just thought that was really, really, really neat. And the fact that it's like a StarCraft type game is just really, really cool. So we've added the ultimate feature to real-time strategy, Star Trek. And yeah, so I imagine it would operate obviously the same idea as StarCraft. And when I saw this, I just had to have it. So it'd be really cool to show everyone on the channel this game. But again, it requires Windows 95, 98, Pentium 2 300, 64 megs of RAM, 400 megabytes of hard disk space, and a 16 megabyte DirectX hardware card. Definitely some, extensive requirements here in terms of at the time to function, probably for the graphics. So yeah, it'd be really cool to see that in action. Next is another keyboard on the bench. This time LabTech. We all know LabTech. It was one of the cheaper brands, I guess I'll call it, that was out there in, mostly in my eyes, mostly for speakers. But when I opened it up, I said, hey, let's just flip it around. I said, I'll open it up and just see what's in there just to see. And I went, okay, well, it's brand new. I mean, I took it out. It's brand new. Not only is it brand new, still sealed, taped, the whole nine, but it's also PS2, which is exactly what I was saying. I'd love to have the PS2. So yeah, let's move on to the next item. We can't go thrifting without actually finding a PC in the wild. And I see a lot of computers when I'm out doing, finding, or, people call me up saying, hey, this is sitting at a local thrift shop, or, online in Facebook Marketplace or whatever. And, I came across this one and it interested me for a couple of reasons. One, compact. I don't have a lot of compact machines. This is probably before HP took them over for sure. And this is a compact Evo is what I'm looking to see as the name here. I mean, there's definitely some peeling of all the different coatings and stuff like that on this computer. Pentium 4, designed for Windows 2000 Professional. So another item that I picked up on. Still having a floppy disk drive, which is really awesome. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this in this video because I do plan on doing a video restoration on it for sure. And obviously it's quite kind of a smaller form factor, and I'd be interested to see what it has in terms of graphics. I mean, I don't know if this is just sitting on a riser card or if it's actually dedicated graphics that are in this machine. Built-in Ethernet, still has your legacy ports, obviously being a Pentium 4 machine, and it is quite heavy. So I'm really interested in seeing what this machine has for specs, and what we could what we can do a video on this in the future. But definitely want to do some exploring of this computer. Next on our list is another wireless card, but this time of the PCI variety. So we have an AirPlus G DWL6510 by D-Link. So just a wireless G card for your computer. So, instead of plugging in the nasty wire in the back, or you need to, gone are the days you have to, have your desktop close to your internet connection. So, having this available would have been really neat at the time. And, having it sealed in a box, really neat. Be cool to, put this in some sort of system just to see, but, it just tells you how to do the configuration. And, there's your standard, which is 1.802.1.11b, but then boom, we're 5 times faster with G. Oh my goodness, it's crazy how much we've come along with these. But again, being sealed, saw it, had to have it. Here we go, and it's sitting here. And we just need more big box software. It's just not enough to say. And like I said, every single time I see a big box sitting there, it cannot stay there. If I don't have it, it's gotta come home with me. Bad addiction, I guess, but or a really good addiction, depending on what your view is. But when I saw this, I mean, Tomb Raider was just such a classic I played growing up, and the trilogy, having all 3 Tomb Raiders in one box, I think this is just amazing. Now, if you play these games or whatever, let me know in the comments. But just really cool to see this in a single box. Now, I don't have them individually broken up separately, but when I saw this, I just had to have it. So let's move on to our next item. Trip Planner Platinum 2001. Who needs a travel agent when you have Trip Planner Platinum 2001? I don't know. I don't need it. I have this. I'm going to pop this in and just see where I can travel to. 20,000 rated hotels and resorts, restaurants, 3,000 photos, exclusive video tours, national and state parks, Redwoods to Manhattan. Oh my goodness. You'll be able to travel all around the world. So what to see, where to eat, where to stay, what to do, where to go. I think this is just really cool. So again, from National Geographic, probably sponsored by Eddie Bauer. I'm zoomed in there, guys. Sorry. But experience-based. So again, just seeing this, the all-in-one vacation planner and street guide. I mean, this is back in 2001. Obviously, we have everything today. I mean, we have it in our phones, we have it in our computers, we have it in our cars. We don't even think about it now. I mean, Yes, we still use travel agents and all that good stuff. We buy vacation packages, but that's all done for us now, where, you know, there was a time when you did go here and you did, you know, use software like this to plan your trip. You know, easy to use tools. So new Palm Pilot compatible. New user profile holds individual users' preferences. So you can have multiple people using this as well. So it'd be really cool to show this specifically in a video and actually plan a trip just to see what it would be like. But, you know, again, let me know in the comments if you want to see some of this stuff in action. Speaking of action, we have more Jane's. Jane's is definitely hanging out with us today. So we have Jane's Combat Simulations. Again, big box software, have to have it. And yes, I'll say that every single time. We have FA-18 Simulator. So another fight simulation type thing. But, you know, step into the Hornet's nest. Hornet, get it, fighter. Anyway, catch a 3-wire and unprecedented communication systems. Utilize a weapon arsenal like no other. Really cool to be able to play these types of games back in the day, and just, you know, it sounds like though that Jane's made a lot of combat simulations, or sorry, flight simulators. So I'd be really interested to see them all together and maybe do a review of that. Okay, next is something just so awesome. The Star Trek Next Generation Type 1 phaser mouse. So anybody who knows Star Trek, I mean, you have your Type 1 and Type 2 and Type 3 phasers. I'm not going to go down. This is not a Star Trek episode. But, you know, having an actual mouse sealed in box, Star Trek mouse, is just so cool. And this is the only computer mouse designed after the Type 1 phaser used in Star Trek Next Generation. Its ergonomic design and sleek handheld size makes the Type 1 phaser the quintessential weapon of the 24th century. And it says, collect all the Federation issued accessories. I just look at this and just think, where was I when this came out? I have no idea. I found this on a shelf. And you know what's funny? This wasn't even like anywhere near anything computer-wise. This was sitting over in the business section by like all the file cabinets and file folders and, you know, pens and paper. And this was just sitting on like a bench like that, or in a slot. And I was like, well, what's this? All right, so I pulled it out and then here we are. So yeah, just really cool. I'd like to see this sometime. I'm really debating whether or not I'm going to open it or not. Unfortunately, though, the shrink wrap is starting to shrink too much. And it's squishing the box a bit. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it and we'll look at that. Next, we have a very heavy laptop. Here we are with an HP laptop, an HP system. I don't exactly know the exact model of this. HP Pavilion ZV or ZV 5000. And, you know, this is a very hefty PC. You know, I did the video on the Dell Inspiron 5100, and I keep on referencing that because that was known as a desktop replacement PC. And, you know, when I saw this and the Harman Kardon speakers, because I always complained about the speakers on the other system, I looked at this and I went, all right, yeah, no, Pentium 4, it's, you know, typical HP keyboard, nothing to write home about, but it's so heavy and thick and boasts about this screen, just screams like 30% more screen information versus 15x XGA, because this is 15.4 high definition screen, and obviously lots of fingerprints, very glossy and all those good things. So definitely want to do a video on this, you know, see what's on it, try it out. I don't have a power adapter for it just yet. I'm having some difficulty locating one. I have a friend of mine who did lend me one. Unfortunately, it's a different connector. So I'm just going to have to find a US or universal one that's going to work for this particular machine. But again, when I see Harman Kardon as a speaker system, I definitely want to see what that's all about. See. Let's move on to the next find. And here we are with our TDK Indie DVD plus minus R plus minus CD, or sorry, RW CD burner. Create, capture, premiere. You know, when I saw this, I saw, okay, well, it's just probably one of those items that are just in the box, but aren't in the box. And sure enough, I opened it up and it's in there. Just really cool to have a TDK DVD, or sorry, CD burner. And, you know, it's pretty standard. I mean, click to go. It gives all the different software and what you can do, you know, edit images, make slideshows, create Hollywood style DVD videos, you know, play, rip, and copy and burn your music. And obviously you own the music, so you keep it there. Play Hollywood DVD movies on your PC. When I look at this, I go, you know, this just looks really, really cool. It looks really nice. So I saw it. It's in the box. It's in the bag, no less. Now, it was used. It does have the rail still attached, but it's in perfect condition. So when I saw that, I just had to grab it for a future build. Now let's go on to our last item. Here we are, an HP ScanJet 3200C color scanner. Now, I'm a big fan of HP scanners. I own a 4C. Here is another, you know, scanner I saw in box, and I took it out, and it doesn't look like it was ever used, to be honest with you. There's absolutely no dust on it. All the software was still sealed, and the only reason the box is not fully closed there is because I actually could not get it back in the box properly with all the different packaging and stuff like that. So, I mean, if that's not a true tell sign that it was new and you can't get it back in the original packaging, then that kind of says it. But yeah, I'm really interested to see if this works. I mean, Windows 98 compatible, parallel connection. So it doesn't use the SCSI adapter, which would have been the 4C would have used, but it's not quite new enough to use the USB connectivity. So easy scanning for everyone, scan and copy photos, text, and more, backed by HP customer care. Again, I have the HP 4C. That was my claim to fame when it came to scanners, which is it's still an absolutely amazing scanner. But then they started moving on, obviously, past that. Different technologies, different ways of connecting, and some of it arguably would have been more entry-level items compared to that scanner. And here we are with the parallel version, which is the HP ScanJet 3200C. And here we are with all of our cool, awesome finds all laid out. Now just to find a spot to put everything. Now, you know, essentially, you know, try out some of these things and, you know, for future builds, restore them, get them cleaned up, get them working, and do some testing and things like that. And, you know, for me to be able to share all this with everybody as well. And I'd be really curious to see what you do. You know, if you do thrifting or you go to, you know, online marketplaces or different things like that, and you have your little collection, you know, drop a comment down below. Let me know. It'd be really cool to see. And if you like today's video, please let me know in the comments as well if you want to see more of this, because I definitely do this quite often. And, you know, this is about probably 6 months worth of hunting around and looking around and all those things. And like I said, this generates new video content as well. So if there's something here you'd like to see a video done on, again, please leave a comment down below. If you like this type of material, let me know as well. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. It really helps me out. And I appreciate every one of my subscribers, every one of my viewers. Please, like I said, subscribe, really helps out. And again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.